Hello everyone, welcome back to Healing from Toxic. For those of you who are new here, my name is Anna. I discuss love, dating, relationships, and narcissists. And today I really want to talk about PTSD and depression. These are two very real things that take place after ending our relationship with a narcissist. Sometimes we don't even know that we have PTSD. We just know something is terribly wrong with us. And I am here to give you a list of symptoms that could be telling that you may be experiencing PTSD. I'm going to talk about my symptoms that I had absolutely no idea were PTSD. For me, right after the relationship, I found myself shaking. My hands used to shake all the time. I was afraid of things that I was never afraid of doing in the past. Like, this was very telling. I took my daughter to a playground in the neighborhood. And she was like, "Mommy, come on the slide with me. Let's get on the slide together." And I was so afraid of getting on this small little slide. I was so afraid. I knew then something was terribly wrong with me. I couldn't explain it. Here I am, a grown adult, and I was terrified of going on that slide. Still to this day, I'm not gonna cry because I don't want to cry, but it's really important to take note of how, for a lot of you, probably, for those of you who are still in this relationship, you won't even know how badly that relationship affected you until you're out of there. At least for me, I didn't know how bad. I knew it was bad, evidently. That's why I got out of the relationship. But the after effects of the relationship can be shocking. That's why I decided to do this video, because these people have a tremendous effect on you and your mental health and your well-being. Okay, going back to some of the symptoms. So for me, that was one. I was afraid of things that I wasn't afraid of before. It was very, very scary. I was the type of woman in the past to always wear lashes. I'm wearing them now. But this is a year and change after the breakup. Towards the end of that relationship, and even shortly after, I think maybe 6 to 7 months after the breakup, I was unable to put my eyelashes on. My hands shook so bad that I could not do something that was so easy for me to do prior to meeting this person. Again, very scary. Very scary how I was walking around shaking for months, and I couldn't explain it. I didn't know why, because this person was already out of my life, but I was still dealing. My body still remembered the trauma. And that is exactly what PTSD is. PTSD is the way that your body responds to being exposed to trauma for a long time, for being exposed to frequent trauma. So even though you think you might have forgotten, or your mind has forgotten, your body will remember. And those were the two main things that I noticed immediately after the relationship. Those were the first two things that I really noticed. Other signs of PTSD can be mood swings, change in your sleeping pattern, forgetfulness, anxiety, flashbacks. And flashbacks are not just when you remember something that the narcissist put you through, said to you, did to you, but it's actually reliving that moment. Your fear, your emotion, that moment will be relived during that flashback. Another symptom of PTSD can be persistent distrust, unstable relationships with other people, shame, trouble focusing, being on edge. I find that's another thing that I find myself experiencing quite frequently these days, and this is we're talking about over a year later. I am constantly on edge. Sometimes when my 7-year-old tries to play with me, I react in a way that's not like me, how I used to be. But I find myself reacting different. Sometimes just really highly irritable and annoyed because I'm experiencing a lot of mood swings. And sometimes we think that we're going to experience these things right after the relationship. And I'm sorry that my voice is shaking a little bit, but just thinking about all of the harm that we have to deal with as survivors, it still gets to me. But I'm gonna get through this video. I don't want to cry and be a mess, but I just want to be real about it, because this is not something to be taken lightly, and it's not something that I'm always going to be strong and casual about. Most days I do feel very strong, and I feel like I'm over it, and I feel like, now my mission is to inform others and to help others. My healing is done. Sometimes I feel like that, but days like today, I realize that I still have a lot more healing to do, and that, I'm still dealing with a lot of issues that survivors have to deal with. This stuff is real, and like I said, sometimes you feel like you're over it and you are way past the things that you thought you recovered from, but sometimes you realize that you're not, and that's okay. I didn't want to come to acknowledge the fact that I was depressed, because some of us, I'm a very strong person. I don't want to say that I'm depressed. I don't want to feel like a depressed person. So even saying that to myself was tough. Even saying that, I might be depressed was tough. Facing that was tough. But I think it's important for us to acknowledge our feelings, to acknowledge that, I am not in a good place. I am not in a good place. I don't like how it feels. But in order to get help, you have to first acknowledge that you might be depressed. And, I don't know all of the signs of depression, but I know that depression can sometimes show up as sleeping too much or not sleeping enough, not eating enough, eating too much, isolating yourself from other people, not wanting to deal with other people. And I think a lot of survivors go through depression because as a way to feel safe, we isolate ourselves. because starting new relationships, especially right after the breakup with a narcissist, can be very difficult. So we tend to keep to ourselves, to be in our shell, because we feel safe by ourselves, because we don't have to open up to other people, because again, it feels unsafe to do that. And that's understandable. I've done that for a long time, and I'm just now starting to open up to people in the way that I used to prior to meeting the narcissist. But it's very difficult. It is very difficult because as a survivor, it's very hard to trust. Even when people are nice to me, and I don't mean to be like that, but even when people are nice to me now, I question their intentions. I'm constantly questioning, why is this person being nice to me? When a person gives me a compliment, I'm like, why is this person complimenting me? They must want something. So yes, it becomes really difficult to trust other people, to let other people in. So depression can take place because once you stop making these connections with others and you're isolated in your pain and you're not, human connections are very important. When you are all alone, it is very easy to feel down and be depressed. For those of you who are single parents, when you are depressed, sometimes we are not able to interact with our children in the way that we want to interact with our kids. We are so depressed that, it's hard for us to cook them a meal, to keep up with the house, to do those things that we used to do. I know that's how I realized that, I'm dealing with depression and I have to do something about it because I'm a mother and my children deserve the best mother that they can have. So that was a big step for me, was to acknowledge that I am struggling and that I need to find ways to help myself and let go of the shame that for me was attached to depression. It is normal to be depressed when you have dealt with such trauma, with such stress, and the lingering thoughts that come to your mind a year later, 2 years later, whatever time period, it doesn't matter. It's difficult to let go of the sadness that those memories bring up. Another thing that was very important to me through my healing process, and I'm pretty sure for a lot of you, was that sometimes the being isolated was not something that I chose. And I say this because I didn't know what NPD was. I didn't realize that I had a lot of family members, I would say most of my family members, that were narcissists. If they were a narcissist, they had a lot of narc tendencies. So they were very toxic. And I didn't realize this until after the breakup with my narcissist. Not my narcissist, the narcissist. I don't want to call him mine. So you find yourself isolated, not by choice, but because you realize, okay, I came from a family of narcs. Then you realize that this is why I had so many issues with my family members. They were gaslighting me. They were manipulating me. So once you let go of the narc, you then realize you have to let go of those family members as well. So with having to do that, because you needed to heal, you find yourself isolated because you have to let go of these family members, of the narc, and sometimes friends. I don't know what your experience has been. I can only speak for myself, but that's where I found myself. I couldn't believe the amount of people around me that were narcs. I was born into a family of narcs. I had a lot of narc friends, fake friends. I knew that they weren't really true friends, but I didn't know that they were narcs until after I realized that, oh my God, everything that the narc did to me, these other people did to me as well. So after finding out that all of these people, or not all, because you know there were some people that were not narcs, but a lot of these people were narcs, it was even harder for me because I found myself alone. And sometimes that can send you into a depression, because now everything that you thought you knew about the people around you was a lie. So for those of you who had to experience that, I'm pretty sure you can relate. It's letting go of your old life and starting a brand new life. But you're starting this brand new life with a lot of self-doubt. And it just takes time to build that strength to go out into the world again and trust new friendships, new people. It's difficult. It can be very difficult. So for those of you who have been experiencing PTSD and depression, I don't want you to think that you are broken. I don't want you to think that you will never go back to yourself. I want you to understand that it's normal to feel these things. And I wouldn't want anyone to be stuck in that place. I want you to have hope that little by little, day by day, you will feel better and you will resolve these things. I want to remind you that it's important to reach out to people, even if it's online. That's how I started. I got on Quora, I got on Instagram, I got on YouTube, and little by little I started connecting with other survivors. I don't have that many connections in YouTube because I started really getting into this channel about a month or two ago. So I don't have that many connections on YouTube, but I do have a lot of connections on my Instagram page. For those of you who don't follow me, my Instagram handle is Healing from a Narc. I'm gonna put it down on the description. And you know, you can reach out to me. I talk to a lot of survivors on a weekly basis, and I love hearing from other survivors. My DM is always open. You can always reach out. Please reach out. And when you feel like, okay, I cannot do this, I cannot handle this, if you can get therapy, get some therapy. I haven't gotten to that point yet. But when I feel like I cannot handle it, I will definitely go get some help. For right now, what's working for me is activities. I'm trying to walk, run, jog, interacting with other people, taking time for myself. I'm sleeping more. I make time to just lay in bed. Sometimes, you know, this society is so hyped to the idea of go, do, keep yourself busy. If you keep yourself busy, you're not gonna be thinking about the trauma. And a lot of times, being so busy with all of these activities, when you're not in the mood for them, when your heart is not there, it's not going to help. You're gonna be doing things, and eventually your mind is going to crash. So I say be active if you can, but if you really feel like you just need to be in bed with no TV on, no phone on, just you and your thoughts, do that. That helps me. That has helped me a lot. Sometimes we need a day or two to recharge, to restart our minds. And then we'll get up the next day feeling much better, feeling refreshed, and just having the energy to be around other people. I know sometimes I just don't have the energy for other people. Sometimes I just need my space. I need my time for myself to think, and that is how I heal. So take the time for you. Take time out for yourself. Don't try to distract your mind so much with activities to where you're not in touch with yourself. I think that's really important, to be in touch with what you're feeling and what you need to do to feel better. And for me, since I'm a sleepyhead, sleep helps me. Sometimes even if I'm not sleeping, just laying in my bed, watching ATL Housewives, that helps me a lot. Watching my reality shows and eating my favorite foods, that helps. Although I don't want you to put on too much weight and go crazy with the food. I know comfort food is really good, but we don't want to overdo it, because then we don't want to get stressed out because we're overweight. So we don't want to add that type of stress. So that was my message for today. PTSD is real. Depression is real. It's important for us to stay in touch with what we feel and get the help that we need when we need it. You're not alone. There's a lot of people struggling with it, and that's why I wanted to say that today. I wanted to put that message out today. So that was my video. I hope you guys have a beautiful Wednesday. I will see you guys next time. Take care. Bye-bye.